What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another About Teams NFL video. And today we are going to be doing the NFC standing predictions for each division. Make sure to go check out our AFC if you haven't already for yesterday. And as you see, we have it right here. So where we think each team will land kind of situation. It's an exciting time in the NFL. Rookie OTAs or rookie mini camps happening. OTAs coming up soon. Schedule release tomorrow night. So we know we've already seen some leaks, but we'll be able to, get the whole thing and then kind of preview the primetime games, how the Thursday night games, because I know that's been a critical thing over the years. Nick, I'm excited for this. We had some hot takes yesterday. I'm excited to hear some more hot takes about how we feel like things are going to play out because however, every year we have these quote unquote experts pick the same thing that happened the year before in the division and say that's their predictions. That's not what we're here to do. Or at least we obviously yesterday had some different perspective, but let's see how it plays out. What division do you want to start off with first?
Let's do the NFC East. Let's just do kind of order we did. We got East, South, West.
NFC East. Jaden Daniels is like the question mark here for like last place. I think is it Giants or
Giants. Even with Daniel Jones healthy, like that.
Giants. Well, Daniel Jones healthy, I don't know. We clearly saw it didn't work out. I would go maybe Washington. Washington spent money this offseason to at least try and improve that defense. They got some guys from. I would go third. I don't know.
I'm a like you can see back here. LSU's my team. This division breaks my heart because the two best players out of LSU went to the two worst teams in this division and maybe in the league.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sorry, but Malik Neighbors could be Daniel Jones' weapon, but they still lost Saquon. They traded for Brian Burns, but they lost Xavier McKinney. They lost some crucial defensive pieces as well. I think it's a toss-up really between these two teams. I think these two teams are 4 to 5 win teams. Assuming you got Terry McLaurin there, but I don't know, and Jahan Dotson, but I don't know how well Jane Daniels will succeed in Washington. There's still some question marks there.
They didn't really fix up whole line too much, which wasn't Sam like the most sacked quarterback in the league.
Yeah, exactly. And Jane Daniels took a lot of sacks in college, so we could get a lot of goose egg games from Washington in some scenarios. Number 2 for me is the Cowboys.
Yep, I agree.
They were the NFC East champs last year. They didn't do jack this offseason. Lost Tony Pollard. I think was their biggest move signing Eric Kendricks in free agency. They hired Mike Zimmer as the former defensive coordinator, which I actually like because as a Vikings fan, that a couple of years before ended roughly on defense. But that 2017 team that had that defense that took Case Keenum to the NFC Championship, number 1 defense, he knows how to coach a good defense. And him working with Micah Parsons, Trayvon Diggs, Deron Bland, you got some good pieces there. But Philly just made moves this offseason. I'd say they didn't have a great offseason like most, in my opinion, like most thought. I thought Saquon, he's a good running back. Still some question marks about his health. A lot of question marks about Jalen Hurts. Will the offensive piece be able to fit Jason Kelce? Obviously him retiring. Do they have the center to replace him? Obviously one of the best centers of all time. What made that tush push so successful? Will it be as successful?
Will they even run it without him? Because he's really the centerpiece of it. Him being that wedge that got, Jalen Hurts those 1 or 2 free yards pretty much. Will they even – we'll see. I mean –
there's obviously some question marks, but I thought they aced the draft. I'm getting some high-tier cornerbacks early. I think it was Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. It'll be interesting. They obviously struggled towards the end of last year. That's why I'm most curious about this offense. How does Jalen Hurts respond? How does AJ? You obviously got AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. Now you got a good piece of Saquon, Dallas Goedert. how did they respond to it? Was like losing 6 out of the last 7 games, being born on the third. I think they have the ability to, redo their wrongings. They got new offensive and defensive coordinators from last year. I thought that was part of the biggest reason was play calling issues, but we'll see what happens. But for now, I like them just because they at least tried to get better, and Dallas just got worse.
It was Stefanski. No, not who was their offensive coordinator? He's the Colts head coach now. I'm pretty
Shane
sure.
Steichen.
Yeah. I mean, losing him was.
Yeah, he's proven last year.
Yeah, we saw what his impact was last year. But I think the Eagles bounce back, adding Saquon to that already, ridiculous running game is huge. I think it's gonna kind of give them another jolt. He's gonna be hyped to play there. He grew up, just outside of Philly.
Yeah.
I think Jalen Hurts was. I feel like he was dealing with some injury issues last year. That's kind of why we saw the steady decline. But I think they bounce back. I think they take the division. I like these picks. I'm pretty sure that this is probably like the standard going into the season predictions as of right now.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. With that being said, which NFC division South do you want to move on to next?
Let's do the South because I think this one can be interesting because I think they could go.
I have a hot take. This is why
your boy Kirk, bro. Your boy Kirk.
I had in my bold prediction the Saints finishing last. I love what Carolina did this offseason. Some of the things that I think will happen is Bryce Young, second year in the league. I think he takes a step forward, and they went out to make sure he has weapons in a good, or at least much better offense than he did last year. What Bryce Young has now, they traded for Deontay Johnson, get him a solid wide receiver too. Mm-hmm. You get Adam Thielen. I know he's up there in age, had 1,000 yards last year. They got head coach Dave Canales from the Tampa Bay offensive coordinator that helped revive Baker Mayfield's career, a young up-and-coming mind. They got guards. They signed, I believe it was Dion Lewis from Seattle and Robert Hunt from the Dolphins. So they were aggressive in getting good in the trenches. They traded up back into the first round to get Xavier Levitt, wide receiver from South Carolina. Carolina is giving Bryce Young help now. Bryce Young wasn't meant to succeed last year. I think he's meant to take a huge step this year, and that's one of my hot takes is I think he turns himself into a top 16 quarterback in this league next year. I think he's got pieces.
Are you saying second?
No, I'll go third for now because I think the other teams are more proven. But I think Carolina takes a step to win 7-8 games this year. And I think the Saints just don't move me at all.
They don't have a quarterback. I do not believe in Derek Carr. I'm not a Derek Carr.
I don't either. And Dennis Allen is whatever. They missed their window.
Kamara could be a trade piece going in.
Yeah.
Mid-season, but we'll see. But I agree with that. I like that.
Okay, I wasn't sure how you're going to feel about that. Obviously, most have Carolina.
I got Falcons at 1. This would be my prediction.
I think these two are interchangeable for me. I really think something had to have been off with Kirk in the first month or two in his time with Atlanta to draft Michael Penix 8th overall. They call it the Green Bay plan. I think there's something deeper than that here, man. I think either Kirk's not going to be healthy at the beginning of the season or they're just concerned about something with him because you don't pay a quarterback $200 million and then draft Michael Penix 8th overall. There's a lot of question marks with that. Tampa Bay, obviously Baker took a huge step last year.
Yeah,
they got Mike Evans back. They just re-signed Antoine Woodfield to a big extension. They always have a scrappy defense. Their offense, obviously, you got Chris Godwin there to support. But I don't mind this. I think Atlanta overall has the best roster if Kirk is healthy. Kyle Pitts, Drake London. They've been good players. We haven't seen them with a real quarterback yet.
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked to seen Atlanta address edge. I thought they were going to take Dallas Turner 8th overall because they needed some edge help. they went a different way. So there's still some question marks on defense. But yeah, I like this offense, and they got still some decent pieces like Jesse Bates to help them. So yeah, I don't mind those.
Yeah, you got to also remember they moved on from Arthur Smith, which is a very, very big move to get those younger guys involved that Arthur Smith was just not using. Guys like Bijan and Kyle Pitts, he was kind of just using them as pylons in his, whatever offensive scheme he was running. So I don't know if there's issues with Kirk. You bring up a good point that there could be issues with Kirk, and that's why they took Penix. But I feel like when you're, deciding to throw that much money at a quarterback, you're going to do your due diligence and look into every possible scenario that could come with signing him. And I think that as much as people may want to speculate that maybe there is something wrong, I do think it's the Green Bay plan. Obviously, Michael Penix is one of the older quarterbacks out of the draft, but
two different scenarios though, man. I feel like Atlanta's window is now for like the next 2 years, and they just wasted top 8 pick on a thing for the future. Their window with Kirk is win now, and they just missed it. I don't think. I think Jordan Love had a lot of potential. I know obviously Michael Penix may have that by the time Michael Penix takes the field, bro's going to be 27, 28. And then the whole benefit of having this is the rookie contract extension's up, but you're going to move to one QB that you're paying $50+ million a year to maybe another QB, depending on how he does his first year. I mean, we'll see. Or they'll have to do a Jordan Love extension, which could get weird if he stinks, but we don't know. A lot of question marks around that pick. I still hated it, even if they think it's the Green Bay plan. I don't know. Kind of two different scenarios. Because I feel like Green Bay went to the NFC Championship the year before they drafted Jordan Love. So they already had almost a complete roster. Atlanta does not have a complete roster. They still have a lot of question marks on defense. And drafting I just still don't like it.
No, I agree with you. I think this division, in my opinion, is probably the weakest division in football. So, and Atlanta has a good enough roster to where they're going to finish first. They might finish first with 9 or 10 wins because we've seen it before. I mean, Brady in his last year went 8-9, and they
with Tampa.
So
we'll see. Which division? NFC West or NFC North?
Let's go West. Let's go out West because I want to say the North for last because I think I have a hot take.
Okay, I'm excited to hear that.
Is this consensus?
Yeah. Until proven otherwise, I think San Francisco is missing their window to win a Super Bowl, but I still think they're like a 10 to 12 win team. Like them, I like the Cardinals last. Still, I think despite getting Marvin Harrison,
I was going to put the Rams last. I was thinking Cardinals here, Rams here, because they're getting Kyler back for a full season. They're going to get –
I mean, I'm excited to see Kyler and Marvin Harrison, but that defense – I mean, the Rams were a surprise team last year making the wild card. But when you got Puka, Cooper Kupp, I still think you're going to win games.
And you got Stafford, hopefully.
Kyron Williams, the running back, popped off at the end of the year. I would honestly have them – Seattle, I think Jackson Smith-Njigba is going to have a breakout season. I think the Rams in Seattle are a toss-up for me, second and third. I'm just curious how Geno – I think it was an underrated thing. Geno really wasn't that good last year.
No. He had a rough year after his
breakout year, I guess. You got DK, you got Tyler, you got – like we talked – I think Jackson Smith is going to have a breakout. That defense is interesting to say the least. They let go of their main pieces over the last couple of years: Jamal Adams, Quandre Diggs. But we'll see. Pete Carroll, obviously, retired. It's
losing Aaron Donald's gonna be tough, but I mean, also they drafted I think Blake Corum too from Michigan, and I think he's I think he's a Kyron dude.
I need to see. I have some more question marks about Seattle than I do the Rams.
Yeah, Like the Rams have kind of they have.
But could the Rams finish last if Marvin Harrison and Kyler Murray connect? Yeah, I could see any case scenario Stafford is injury prone, but I don't know. I need to see more from them before I actually believe that kind of situation.
You bring up a good point about the Cardinals defense too. Like it's not there. They're just not there yet.
Jonathan Gannon defense. They were underratedly competitive last year, but we'll see what happens. They still only won like 3-4 games, but we'll see. Yeah, so it should be interesting. Now move into a division I think is the best division in football this upcoming year, the NFC North. I would say my order, even as a Vikings fan, I'd say Vikings fourth, Bears third, Lions second, Packers first. That's how I'd go. How would you play it out?
So, yep, I had Vikings last. You said Vikings, Bears, Lions, Packers.
Yeah.
So I had Lions first, Bears second, Green Bay third. That was my hot take. Is that the Bears finish second?
There's a lot of scenarios with this division, man.
I think the Bears, they build themselves up really well, and I think it's going to be.
They did.
Unless something catastrophic happens, or just Caleb Williams is like a Jamarcus Russell, which I don't think he is. I think today's world and today's NFL, quarterbacks are kind of pushed to succeed. Like even if you're not that good, the NFL wants a quarterback to succeed more so than just, hey, if you're not putting in the work, you're going to suck. Like they're going to try and help him out as much as they can. And the Bears built this roster all offseason for Caleb Williams. So
I like the Bears to win 10 games. I just see the top 3 teams winning close.
I was going to say these 3 teams are probably all going to win 10 games.
Here's the thing for me, though. I would say this division has the most potential to be the most chaotic. There are many different scenarios where this could play out. Lions maintain their form from last year, win 12, 13 games. Packers were riding high, though, entering last year. And I think they can continue that momentum. Jordan Love, his second year, has seen more NFL defenses. I think will take another step. I didn't love the signing, but you still got Josh Jacobs in the backfield to go with A.J. Dillon. You have young receivers. They were the youngest team to make the playoffs last year. So just gaining that experience, I think Matt LaFleur is a top 10 head coach in this league. I could see them winning the division. But I could also see, different types of regression, especially from the Lions. I don't think the Lions improved much this offseason. And it'll be interesting because I think any team could finish fourth to last. Like if Jared Goff regresses, if people figure out scheme around this Lions team to stop Amon-Ra, there could be trouble there. I the reason why I have the Vikings last is I think Sam Darnold starts most of the year. But if J.J. McCarthy steps in, he throws to Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, T.J. Hawkinson. That defense takes another step, drafting Defensive Rookie of the Year favorite right now, at least in some sports books. Dallas Turner, and he turns out to be a beast. Van Ginkel turns out to be good. I could see them surprising and winning 10-plus games if everything works out. There's a lot of question marks with them, but I love what the Vikings are doing for next year, I should say. I think with all the cap space they're got.
They're building a good future. If they retain Justin Jefferson, which I can't see them not putting forward every effort to not.
I think they will. That'll be probably a question if they don't do it, but training camp can raise some question marks. But I would say, Vikings are building, though. I think they're a year away. I would say Bears, Caleb. The only question mark I have with Caleb, but it's a big problem, is leadership skills. I think he can rub people the wrong way. But I've seen him bonding with teammates going to games, so maybe that can be proven wrong, and he just balls out. I loved their draft, Adunze, Allen, like we talked about. They got weapons. This division is going to be so competitive. And the best part about it, Lions, Bears play twice. Lions, Packers play twice. Vikings, Packers, Vikings, Bears, Vikings, Lions. They all play each other 2 times. So they're all going to slay at each other's necks. And I think it's going to be exciting. But I'm ready for it.
Yeah. I like your predictions. I think.
Yeah, I think this is a solid list. gonna be interesting to see what happens. But yeah, I think this last division is the most controversial.
Yeah, and
But
one thing we got to touch on, Goff's contract that they just gave him, 4 years, 212.
Goff, I'll just say this. I know Lions fans may disagree, obviously. Goff is a good QB under the right foundation, but what makes him able to succeed is the weapons around him. Great offensive line, number one receiver, Amon-Ra St. Brown, tight end, Sam Laporta, great weapon. Just good, solid, great running backs, being able to draft Jahmyr Gibbs. And that's a huge credit to the Lions, just drafting ability, David Montgomery. But is he worth $50 million? No. And he reminds me of a lot like a Kirk Cousins, where he needs players around him to be able to succeed. Is that contract a problem now? No. But when that $50 million kicks in, you're not going to be able to afford the Amon-Ra, a Laporta, Jahmyr Gibbs, if he continues to play at this rate altogether. And that could be a problem down the line. But the Lions are in a win-now mode. They want to make him happy. He's a good top 10 borderline QB in my eyes. But if it were my guess, you have to win before this contract extension kicks in, because once he's making that $50 million, man, I don't see it. It's like a Kirk Cousins. He can win you 9-10 games after that, but he won't have that super team around him, which is what makes him look really good.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. He's not a $50 million quarterback. I think he's a top 10 QB. He kind of proved that last year, taking this team as deep as he did. But I liked this out of all their extensions this year with Penei Sewell, Amon-Ra. This is the one I like the least, because those guys are young.
Oh, 100%.
They're a part of their young core that they want to keep around for a while. And I'm sure they want Goff to be their guy for as long as they can, but not for 50.
Yeah, no, I think, but like I said, I think their window is next year, while that contract doesn't kick in. But once it does, man, $50 million, you got to start cutting some of those key defensive players that have gotten you there. Will you be able to afford Goff making $50 million, Amon-Ra being the second highest paid receiver right now? Can you afford Laporta at the price he's going to go at if he continues? Jahmyr Gibbs, it becomes all these question marks. But luckily for the Lions, Laporta and Jahmyr Gibbs are only on their first year deals, so that won't be a problem for another 2-3 years. Lions are building something special. Love that roster, so it should be interesting down the line how it plays out.
I think everyone's pulling for him. I think everybody wants to see them. If
I still like the Packers though. So.
All right. Well, yeah. I like these predictions. These are good.
Yeah, we'll revisit these down the line before probably the beginning of the season, see if anything changes. But with that being said, thank you guys for listening to our NFC division predictions now. And we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.